Do you know who has that access?
I think Prema Sindhu, and I think he puts it on his YouTube also. That's what it happens.
That's not really the temple's YouTube.
Correct, correct.
Maybe we
But we can ask him. I've tried to ask him, but I've not got a response from him yet.
can we set up a temple YouTube ourselves?
Yeah,
Better we set up our own, you know.
exactly. Exactly. For the temple, we should set up. Yeah. Now, let me send this to you on WhatsApp. Did you get that, Prabhuji?
Let me check. You said it on WhatsApp, right?
Yeah, on WhatsApp. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. Let me put it up. Yep, I can see your screen. Now you're there. Now I'm here.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, I can see you. Yeah.
It's working. Okay. So
Okay.
that's the link. Now we have to send this link out to
Yeah.
WhatsApp. I'll do that.
Okay.
Now, if I can do it even now.
Sorry.
I can do it even now.
Yeah.
Go to.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. And Facebook.
Facebook, it won't come probably
Sorry.
because this, for some reason, it's allowing me only one.
Oh, one
Yeah.
link.
So I thought I'll leave it with YouTube right now.
YouTube is better than Facebook.
Yeah.
Because,
Not really go to Facebook for our Sunday feast. Yeah.
yeah. And also, the thing with Facebook is you have to log in. With YouTube,
Yeah.
you log in, it's in, you know.
Yeah.
Hit the link and you're there.
Yeah.
So that's much better. So I'll put this on our other programs and so that they Hare Krishna Northeast.
Oh, I looked into the while others are coming on,
Yes, bro.
and I looked into the FEMA thing.
Yes.
The person who is renting, I think, needs to apply.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I couldn't apply. Some reason it was telling me my name is not right or something. But I'll call them and find out also, because online I couldn't do it.
Oh, okay.
I'm recording this. Is that okay?
Yes, please, please. We need to load it onto our YouTube channel also later.
Yeah.
After we record it, we'll put it
Yeah.
on, that way.
Yeah.
Whatever Mark said will be remembered,
Yeah.
Record it, we'll put it on, that way. Whatever Mark said. Hare Krishna. Nitai Prabhu. That's Daji Nitai Prabhu, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hare
Oh, Hare Krishna Mataji, it's it's called. Yeah, it says Gauri Kumari Devi. Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. YouTube has some sound. I don't know. It's my.
That's Daji Nitai Prabhu, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have some sound problem? Hare Krishna Mataji, it's it's called. Yeah, it says Gauri Kumari Devi. Hare Krishna. Swami is repeating something I said earlier.
That is because your YouTube is on, Prabhuji.
Oh, my YouTube is on. Oh my God.
You may want to mute that.
Yeah. YouTube.
No, I first went to the YouTube. It had some sound problem. Then I logged.
Yeah. Okay.
Into.
And it's my YouTube that's causing it. So let me see if I can bring up YouTube on my system. I did on my phone.
There will be feedback.
Yeah, feedback. Yeah. YouTube.
Is there a feedback on that channel, Mataji? I know you're watching on YouTube as well.
There is some background noise was coming from the YouTube.
Nothing in my system. Doesn't look my YouTube is on. Anyway.
No, now it is okay.
It's okay?
Yeah, now.
Yeah.
Oh, good. So let's say.
Now it is okay.
Good.
But I don't know about YouTube.
Oh, YouTube, I don't think I'm on.
I'll ask.
Do you see me on YouTube?
Yeah, now the YouTube. Now the YouTube is okay, Prabhuji.
Oh, okay, good. So that's fine.
Very good.
Prabhuji, did you send me the link for Lord Nityananda's Appearance Day program?
Not yet. I will set it up probably.
Okay, you might send that to me. Yeah. Okay.
Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. I don't know how to do this. What's wrong?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
I don't see the thing to make it big. What's this? I don't know what I'm doing here.
Mhm.
Something's wrong. I'm going to sign back in if something's wrong.
Okay, man.
I can't even sign out. What's going on? What's this thing over here? Am I on YouTube or am I on Zoom or what am I?
Both. You're on both, Maharaj.
You're on Zoom right now, Maharaj, but
Oh, it
it's
doesn't
being
look
delayed.
like it, does it? I can't even sign off. What the heck is going on?
But
Oh, it
it's
doesn't
being
look
delayed.
like it, does it?
No,
I can't even sign off.
I think
Uh,
you have both on your laptop,
What the
Maharaj.
heck is
You
going
don't need
on?
to be on YouTube, Maharaj. Only on Zoom.
You want to sign off on Zoom, Maharaj? Oh, okay. You're muted now, Maharaj.
Now it's working. Now it's working.
Yeah.
It's just got me as if I don't want to look at myself. Gallery view. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna Krishna. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram.
You have Kalachandji family?
I have family.
True, I can hear you. You're two of you. Wait to go here. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna. Oops, I gotta turn that on. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Oh, you're chanting very nice,
Krishna.
very nice. Is are you using your right hand or your left hand to chant?
Are you using your left hand? No, your right hand. Using right hand.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Nityananda Prabhu, I don't know what the schedule is, so
We're supposed to start at 6 o'clock, Maharaj. And we can get started. People will keep joining us, I guess, Maharaj.
okay. There's Durga. Nice to see you, Durga. I keep sending you and your husband message, but I never hear back.
Yeah, we are. How are you doing, Maharaj?
You're okay?
Yeah, we are okay.
Okay.
How are you doing, Maharaj?
I'm okay. The cold is gone. It was 72 degrees today. Went for a nice walk, chanted Hare Krishna. And yeah. So I guess we can just start. Nityananda, is this proper? We just I don't even know who's in charge.
Well, you're in charge, but myself and Dwaka Prabhu are administrating this part.
Okay, okay. So I thought that since we're getting very close to Lord Nityananda's appearance day, that it would be nice to just go through some of the, at least one of the songs. Nitai Padaka, it's called Mana Siksha, the teachings to the mind. Everyone experiences difficulties with the mind or struggles with the mind. Sometimes people like the word challenges with the mind. And sometimes we want to get free of the duress that comes from identifying with the mind. So this is from Parthana, a series of songs from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, or excuse me, Narottam Das Thakur. And I won't sing this song because the purport to this, the Prabhupada goes through the song very, very, very clearly, verse by verse. And so I thought we could start there. And what I would like to first do is welcome everyone to this Zoom class. I think it was halted because of the snowstorm we had. I think something, yeah. And if everyone could please turn on your videos so that I can see you, because otherwise it's not as fun for me. And I'm like a fun seeker. And so if I get a chance to see you, then I can make sure that everything is going okay. Oops, I just closed my book. Okay. See if I can open it up to this. Yeah, Krishna, Krishna. So if you're unable to turn on your camera, that's okay. But if you are able to turn on your camera and not be embarrassed by the messy room or the bad hair day, as they call it, every day has challenges. Please turn your cameras on so we get a chance to see who's here. Om Agyantamarandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshuramanitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminityanamane Namaste Sarasati Deve Gurvani Pacharane Nirvase Susunyabadi Pastacha Desha Tardane Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. For anyone who has just recently tuned in, we are humbly requesting everyone who is able to please turn on your cameras so that we can see who is all here today. So this is teachings to the mind. We all know that the mind is fickle by nature, chanchala, fickle by nature, but there is a cure to this. And this is the purport to the song Nitai Pada Kamala. We give it that name, but the name of the song is Mana Siksha. So Srila Prabhupada, he makes a purport. He spoke this purport after singing the song. So I'm going to keep track of the time. So Prabhupada explains that this is a very nice song sung by Narottam Das Thakur. He advises that Nitai Pada, the lotus feet of Nityananda, Kamala means lotus and Pada means feet, are the shelter where one will get soothing moonlight, not only of one, but of millions of moons. Millions of moons. Let's see, who has their speaker on? Okay, yeah, I guess that admin can take care of it. This is what we're looking for, a shelter of millions of moons, having the cooling effect Prabhupada mentions here, one can just imagine the aggregate total of the soothing shining of millions of moons. And this is the what happens when one takes shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. In this material world, Jagat, which is progressing towards hell. We think we're progressing, we're advancing in society. We have this illusion that we're gaining, we're, what would you say, advancing, we're making progress. And here it tells us, we think we're progressing up, but here, according to Narottam Das Thakur, this material world, in this material world, which is progressing towards hell, there is always a blazing fire. There's always a blazing fire, samsara. That samsara is always there. Samsara dava nanadita loka. The burning fire of material existence is there. It's always there. So what is that burning fire? That samsara. What is the cause of that fire? Samsara is there, but what does it really mean? It's basically tick, 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 tick. Time is ticking. Time just keeps on ticking. You can't stop. You cannot stop the time, as it'll be explained later on in this commentary. The same theme, but the idea is that this you cannot stop. It's like a burning fire. It rages, and no matter what we do to try to extinguish it on a material level, we're unable. They've been trying for millennia after millennia to overcome the complexities of the material world. Yet we find ourselves creating new problems from the old problems. Every time when I've in my life we see they try to make some material advancement, then it always creates something else comes out of it that we have to fix that. I guess I can say it to this group. I mean, it's like the Three Stooges trying to do plumbing. They make the plumbing, and next thing you know, they build a cage for themselves. They're trying to fix one leak, but they end up building a cage and get caught in the plumbing. And so, in this material world, which is progressing towards hell, there's never a time when there's not a blazing fire. And the reason this example is so good, that if there's a blazing fire, you have to put it out. You have to escape, and you have to try to put it out. Those two things are there. Sometimes people may equate turning to religious processes as escapism, like not trying to face the realities of life and not trying to, overcome the difficulties by some other process. You're just trying to escape into some imaginary world with some imaginary being, all these kind of things. But we know that this is a fact that we need, if the fire is burning, first thing, get out and then get some help to put out the blazing fire. So Prabhupada continues here, everyone is struggling hard without finding peace. This is very, very important and very, people struggle so hard in this world. We see it. I mean, I was just coming back from the lake today, and it was, I don't want to make this into a negative, experience for everybody listening, but just to see the people so blindly following the dictates of the senses and the mind. Of course, the senses are bringing information into the mind, and the mind is dictating to us to accept and reject. And I was actually quite amazed that without almost being like blind to their true nature, and just pushing on. And therefore it describes here, everyone is struggling very hard without finding peace. And therefore, if the world wants to have real peace, it should take shelter under the lotus feet of Nityananda. There's a nice verse in the 2nd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita that explains that, I used to know this verse. Anyway, it says that without Krishna consciousness, one cannot have steady intelligence. In other words, we need that type of spiritual intelligence, because without spiritual intelligence, we cannot have a peaceful mind. And without a peaceful mind, one cannot become happy. And everyone is only looking to become happy. That's what everyone's goal is, just to become happy. Most of the things we do are either for immediate happiness or to have happiness sometime in the future. Like we go to work at some job that we may or may not like because we think that we'll get some benefit and then we'll be able to enjoy at some other point and be happy. But this is all false information. The material world, material energy, Krishna created it. Daivi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Dharantiya. He created this material energy, and it was the original fake news. I'm trying to see if I could get a smile out of any of our video people here. It was like the original fake news that you could become happy in this material world and find real peace and real happiness. We won't, unless you have a controlled mind, you can't have peace. Everyone notices how, so you can't see my, everyone notices how the mind is working, and there's no way to find peace with that in that mind, in that situation. And without that type of peace, one can't find happiness. So spiritual inquiry and spiritual endeavor are the most important thing, the most essential thing. So the next we take shelter at the lotus feet of Nityananda, which are like the shining of millions of moons. There we can find that shelter. Jadaya means relief. If one actually wants relief from the struggle of existence and actually wants to extinguish the blazing fire of material pangs, Narottam Das Thakur advises, please take shelter of Lord Nityananda. Please take shelter of Lord Nityananda. This is the key here. This is the key here. We are, if we actually want relief from the struggle, the ticking of time, the samsara, the blazing fire of material pains, Narottam Das Thakur advises to take shelter of Lord Nityananda. So one may ask, as Prabhupada says here, what will be the results of accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda? He says, Hena nite dine bhai. Unless one takes shelter under the shade of the lotus feet of Nityananda, Radha Krishna paite nai. It will be very difficult to approach Radha and Krishna. The aim of this Krishna consciousness movement is to enable us to approach Radha Krishna and to associate with the Supreme in his sublime pleasure dance. This is our goal. It's to have the association of Krishna and Krishna's associates. It's described here Narottam Das Thakur advises that if one actually wants to enter into the dancing party of Radha and Krishna, one must accept the shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. So this is what's coming up. I think it's Tuesday here, right, Nityananda Prabhu? It's kind of a Wednesday, right? Yeah, because I got invited Thursday to give a class on the East Coast, so the calendars are a little different. And so this is the purpose. This is Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda appears a very, very special incarnation because there's no one more merciful than Lord Nityananda. Even someone, Jagai Madhai, attacked him, and he offered obeisances to them and asked them, please, please, please take shelter of Lord, take shelter of the holy name. I see that there's some more, what would you say, viewers come on, and if you can, please turn on your cameras. It's nice to see everyone when we're on this side of the camera to have the association of the Vaishnavas. And so it's very, very nice to see everyone, and it makes it more, what would you say, I feel like I'm not alone then. So let's go on to verse number 2. Then he says, say sambandhas nahi. Sambandha means connection or contact. Connection or contact. Anyone who does not who has not contacted a relationship with Nityananda is understood to have spoiled his human birth. And very, very strong preaching from the Acharyas. You always see very, very strong preaching from the Acharyas. And we are thinking that we are utilizing our life in such a way that we're gaining so much. But here, the raw truth is that unless we make connection, and that, see, Nityananda Prabhu is your, well, of course, our Nityananda Prabhu is also a connection, but Lord Nityananda, I'll make it this way, Lord Nityananda Prabhu is the original Adi Guru, and he connects us. See, through this connection, we are able to come through to Krishna. It's a very, very wonderful process of Krishna consciousness. So we don't want to spoil this birth. It's a very, very rare opportunity to take birth in the human form of life. And it's even rarer to have the opportunity to engage in any type of devotional activity to rekindle our dormant Krishna consciousness. It's within our heart. It resides deeply within the heart, and all it needs to do is be rekindled. Srila Prabhupada would often say, like dry grass, all you need is to spark it, and then it'll ignite, and it will create a blazing fire. So Srila Prabhupada says here that in another song, Narottam Das Thakur says, Hari Hari Bifile Jamma Gaino. Actually, one time, Srila Prabhupada asked him, I think it was Prabhupada asked Yamuna, what is your favorite song? And she said one thing, and then she asked Prabhupada, what is your favorite song? And he said, Hari Hari Bifile. He said this was his favorite song. We can go over that song someday. It's a very, very wonderful song, because in that song it describes Golokera Prema Dan Hari Nam, that the spiritual world actually manifests itself here in this material world through the Hari Nam Sankirtan. And when we're in, just like now they talk about bubbles, being in a bubble, they have this bubble for this and a bubble for that. So being in the bubble of the Hari Nam Sankirtan process of rekindling our spiritual life is a wonderful experience. So the purport is that anyone who does not approach Radha and Krishna through the relationship with Nityananda spoils their life. In other words, we can maybe make some imaginary relationship and stuff like that, but to have the true connection through sadhu sangha, through the Guru Parampara, is essential, because we don't want to spoil their life. We want to have the essence. We want, just like there's a nice verse in the Bhagavatam, says it describes the cream of the cream. The Bhagavatam is the cream of the cream. It is the essence of the process of Krishna consciousness. So Vritta means useless, and Jamma means life, Tar means his, and Sambandha means relationship. So if anyone does not make a relationship with Nityananda, they're simply spoiling the boon of his human form of life. Just like if you give something of value, and just like sometimes a child will take up something that is very precious or very valuable, or maybe even something that's very dangerous. It doesn't know how to utilize it. So we need to have our spiritual intelligence developed through the process of Krishna consciousness. I actually read something the other day. I think it's, hopefully I'll remember. It doesn't matter exactly where, but it describes that in order to become attached to the chanting of Hare Krishna, this is one of our goals, to become attached to the chanting of Hare Krishna, is that one must regularly and scrutinizingly study Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Because by studying these literatures, it cleanses the heart, it develops a sense of faith, because in this world our faith is so limited. We come in this world without practically no knowledge. It's described very nicely in the Bhagavatam, in the songs of the acharyas here, that we just gave that class last week. Udiro Arana Pura Babaje. That this, as the sun arises and we waste our time, that wasting of time. And so we need to wake up. We need Jiv Jago, Gora Chandra Bole. That we don't want to simply waste the boon of spirit of human life. It's such a rare gift. I've said that about 3 or 4 times in this class already. But I just want everyone to understand that this is a rare opportunity, and if we don't take advantage of it, it's just like if you get some credentials, but you don't utilize them, you do something else. Even like Prabhupada sometimes would say that a very rich person has children, but the children forget their relationship with their parental connection, and they are living and squalling on the streets. But as soon as someone reminds them that, oh, you come from a very, very prosperous family, you have this opportunity, you have that opportunity, that person is a very, very rare gifted person that gives you such information. And so that is what Nityananda Prabhu, Lord Nityananda Prabhu is giving us here. He's giving us an opportunity to associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so say, why is he spoiling? Why do we say we're spoiling this human life? Say pasu bodhe duracha. That is described here that say means that, and pashu means animal. Again, this is very powerful. Durachara means misbehaved, or the most misbehaved. Without elevation to Krishna consciousness through the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, life is simply spoiled in the animal propensities of sense gratification. That's the one thing that captured me when I first opened Prabhupada's books. Animals go on 4 legs, they eat, sleep, mate, and defend. Human beings go on 4 tires, and they eat, sleep, mate, and defend. What is the difference? And so here it's described that life is simply spoiled in the animalistic propensities of sense gratification. Animalistic. I mean, it probably says there's no, when I was reading that, I couldn't quite figure out what the difference was. And then Prabhupada said the difference is that one is polished and the other is unpolished. It's still an animal. It's still the same thing. Prabhupada says you can eat in a fancy restaurant, when I would take the boys, we would go to Toronto, and they have this restaurant on top of a tower. It goes around. I don't know, it goes around, it slowly moves. It goes around. Hopefully it goes like a clock, I don't know. And it goes around, and they think, yes, we're up here in the tower eating. And the dog is in the street eating. The pleasure is the same. The pleasure is the same. Now, the dog may not have as many choices as we do, but the dog does have a choice. And he'll reject certain things. A dog will actually reject certain things and go looking for something else. And we will also reject certain things and go for something. So what is the difference? Same thing. Narottam Das Thakur. Now here's the clincher. Narottam Das Thakur says that ordinary animals can be tamed. An ordinary animal can be tamed, but when a human being is animalistic, having only animal propensities, he is most horrible. Can you hear Prabhupada saying that? He is most horrible. That's a typical word from Srila Prabhupada. One of the things I like to do when we go through Prabhupada's purports is to just do a what do they call it? Imaging. In other words, just imagine, because this was done, I do believe this was done at the Golden Avatar Studios. Just imagine if you were one of the devotees that got to be there and hear Prabhupada sing this song and then give this purport to this song, and the being in the presence of Srila Prabhupada. So this is non-different than being in the presence of Srila Prabhupada, just sitting, we're actually sitting right next to Srila Prabhupada. We're here right now with Srila Prabhupada, and he's saying it is most horrible to just utilize this human form of life for animalistic propensities, because what it says, because the animal can be tamed, but when a human being is animalistic, having only animalistic propensities, is most horrible, for he cannot be tamed. The animal can be tamed, but we cannot be tamed. Ordinary cats and dogs, or even a tiger, can be tamed. I remember when we were kids, the circus was no animal abuse people around. They abuse those animals so much. So I went to that circus, and you see the guy cracking the whip, and he has a gun, shoots the gun, and the tigers, they behave according to the tiger. What do you call it? Lion tamer or tiger tamer. It says here, even a tiger can be trained. But when a human being goes out of his way, when the human being goes out of his way and neglects to take the human activity of Krishna consciousness, its higher intelligence will simply be misused for animalistic propensities, and it is very difficult to tame him. There's a nice purport to verse 15 of the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where Prabhupada says that due to one's okay, I need my Bhagavad Gita. Where's my Bhagavad Gita? Where am I? Got it right here. Due to one's avoidance of Krishna consciousness since time immemorial. Let me find it. Let me just find it here. To get it right. Okay. It's funny how the phone has everything nowadays. Therefore, the embodied soul, by his immemorial desire to avoid Krishna consciousness, causes his own bewilderment. And we're saying, not me, not me. It's not my fault, it's somebody else's fault, not me. Although he is constitutionally eternal, blissful, and constant, due to the littleness of his existence, he forgets his constitutional position of service to the Lord and is thus entrapped by nescience. Entrapped, just like I saw, you see this happen. Sometimes they set traps and people get caught in their own traps, isn't it? They have these trappers and they forget where they set them. They camouflage them. And if you get caught in your own trap, so that's what's happening. Or like these trappers that get caught in their own trap. And under this spell of ignorance, a living entity that claims that the Lord is responsible for his conditional existence. It's not my fault, it's God's fault. Very horrible. Now we can understand why Prabhupada says he is most horrible. Sometimes these words by Srila Prabhupada, they sting the heart. But it's described that this stinging sometimes is necessary. I've often mentioned before that I took lifeguard training, and they tell you that when you're going to save somebody that's drowning, they will not know that that is your purpose, and they will try to put you down, or try to drown you in their frenzy. So they tell you that if you go surface dive, you go on from behind, you try to get it, but if they're still trying to get you, you just give them a good whack. You give them a whack, because then they'll what's going on, then they'll get it. So that's the nature. So the scriptures describe that the sadhu is cutting. Now we may want to cut a little gentle depending on the what would you say, audience. But here we are amongst the advanced devotees here, the practitioners of Krishna consciousness, and so we can let it go sometime. We can let it go. And here Narottam Das Thakur is describing, he's simply misused for animal propensities, and so difficult to tame the animal in that way. The enactment, this Prabhupada says here, the enactment of state laws cannot make a thief an honest man. We can pass all the laws we want, make this illegal, make that illegal, just like we have now. Everyone, it's recommended that I saw this the other day. You want to go to a grocery store, it's the rule. You have to wear a mask. Yet you have people outside saying, I don't have to wear a mask. I don't have to follow the law. You don't understand the Constitution. They're telling the police, you don't understand the law. The police are putting them in handcuffs, and the person is saying, I can't be put under arrest. You're violating my, what it was, you're violating my person, I think it was so crazy. I can't even remember what the person was saying. So they say you can't, they say that it's so crazy nowadays. You make the laws, but it's not going to change anybody. A thief is going to be a thief. That's probably what it says here. The state laws cannot make a thief an honest man. Why? Because his heart is polluted. If the heart is polluted, if the heart has desire to go outside the realm of the jurisdiction of the law, nothing's going to stop him. It's habituated. We are habituated to our things. We have developed an addiction. This is stated in the 3rd chapter of the Gita, that one engages repeatedly in sense gratification in the material world. What happens is that they become addicted to sense gratification. Just like if we repeatedly take some type of if you take alcohol, you become addicted to it. Take some drug, you become addicted to it. There's so many different things. So I remember long time ago, we had in-person classes at the temple, and I said, just like we have AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, NA, Narcotics Anonymous, here in the Hare Krishna movement, we have SGA, Sense Gratifiers Anonymous. We go in front of Radha Kalachandji, say, Radha Kalachandji, hi, my name is Radha Swami, and I'm an addict. I'm addicted to sense gratification. I admit it. First step out of 12, admission. Admit we are addicts. So that as the state law cannot make a thief an honest man, because his heart is polluted and he cannot be tamed. Every man sees that a person who commits criminal offenses is punished by the government, and also in scriptural injunctions, punishment in hell is mentioned. Punishment in hell. Punishment in hell. Who wants this? Who would invite that? But despite hearing from scripture and seeing the action of the state law, the demoniac cannot be tamed. Very, very powerful. Again, I'm pointing out these powerful words that Srila Prabhupada is giving. Very, very powerful words that Srila Prabhupada is giving us here. And actually, it's coming from Narottam Das Thakur. So what are they doing? Nitya na bodhi mukhe. They do not know who Nityananda is, for they never say the name of Lord Nityananda and Chaitanya. Majilo sangsada sukhe. Majilo means become absorbed. To become absorbed in so-called material enjoyment. Because as I was saying before, due to our immemorial desire to avoid Krishna consciousness, in order to avoid Krishna consciousness, we have to dive deep into material sense enjoyment. I personally had that experience when I was going. It was a long journey to get when Winnipeg, Canada moved to Minneapolis, and I decided that I couldn't live in Minneapolis, and I was going to go to Gainesville. I got caught in Maya. And I decided that I would just put Krishna consciousness aside for a second. But boy, does Maya really, if a devotee does that, if one's even attempting to be a devotee tries to escape, you cannot do it. You cannot do it because it's absorbed in so-called material enjoyment. And we go deep down into material existence. So vidya kule ki karebe tara. If one has no connection with Nityananda, and if he does not come to Krishna consciousness, his vidya, or a so-called academic education, kula, birth in a high family or great nation, will not protect him. Will not protect him. Regardless whether it's one born in a very big family or nation or has a very advanced academic education, at the time of death, nature's law will act. His work will be finished and he'll get another body according to his work. I do believe it was here in Dallas that Srila Prabhupada went on a walk over on the opposite side of the Arboretum. And there's there's these rich houses, or rich people's houses there. And the devotees were explaining to Srila Prabhupada that this person is this and this person is that. And we tried to go there, but they wouldn't let us in the house. They wouldn't let us in. They said, no, go away. And Prabhupada said, let them see what happens when Yamaraj, when the Yamadutas come. See if they can see if their fence, see if their security, see if their security system is see if their security system can keep them out. See if their security system can keep them out of the house. They cannot do it. You can have 50 guards. You can have 100 guards. You can have 1,000,000 guards. When the Yamadutas come, time's up. You can't stop the Yamadutas. Only what can stop the Yamadutas? We have this experience. Narayan. Even in it, unintentionally chanting the name of the Lord, Narayana. Ajamil was calling out for his son. He was calling out for his son, Narayana. And Prabhupada said, someone may question why he was crying for his son. He was a sinful person. Why did the Vishnu Dutas come to protect him? He said, because he was offenselessly chanting the holy name. He wasn't committing no balada. Yasya papa vidi. How do you say that? Seventh offense. The seventh offense is to commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting Hare Krishna. So Ajamil, he wasn't chanting the name of Narayan to would you say, undo or to do atonement for his previous sins. He was just crying out for his son, and he wasn't doing it to what would you say, diminish the sinful reactions that he had committed. He was just crying for his son. So his chanting was offenseless. It wasn't pure, but it was offenseless. So he got another opportunity by that pure chanting of the holy name. So Prabhupada say, now we go into the third verse of this song for Nityananda. Why are these human animals acting this way? Ahankara mata hoya nitai pada parshariya. They have become maddened by a false conception of bodily life, and thus they have forgotten their eternal relationship with Krishna, or Nityananda. Become maddened by a false conception of bodily life. I'm telling you, it's so hard to extract oneself from this bodily conception of life. It's very, very difficult. It's work. I mean, we have to endeavor. We know that story from the Damodar prayers. That it's endeavor and mercy. These two things are there. They must be there. We mustn't make the effort. They have the story in the 24th verse of the 6th chapter where Sanistayena yuktavyo yoga nirvinucheta, that one should practice yoga with firm determination and faith and not be distracted by the mana, the mind, and the senses coming in contact with the sense objects. And in that purport, Prabhupada gives the story of the famous story of the sparrow that lost the eggs in the ocean. But because of her determination, Garuda came to help. And Prabhupada says there that God helps those that help themselves. And so here we have become maddened, like a madman. Everyone has experience with people who have gone mad. And most people have. At least the adults in the group. They've had an experience of madman. And although you may want to help them, sometimes it becomes dangerous to help. But Lord Nityananda was so merciful that even though Jagai and Madhai were drunken, debauchees, these type of people, they have to be feared. They have to be feared in a sense. It's just like in the 13th chapter of the Gita, 8 to 12, it's described, one should know what is to be feared and what is not to be feared. Some places it says that one has to be free of fear. The Gita, like in the 8th verse of the 4th chapter, says one who is free of desires, fear, anger. And so some places it says we have to be free of fear. But in the 13th chapter it says one who knows what is to be feared and what is not to be feared. And so this is the madness, maddened by false conception of life. So then the next part of the verse is atsera asatyera satya kori mani. Such forgetful persons accept the illusory energy as factual. which one of us doesn't accept that this place is reality? I mean, it's real. It's not, but it's temporary. They accept the illusory energy as permanent. Then that I'm going to be permanent. We know that we're going to die. We know that that someday it's going to be there. But we don't act as if we're going to do that. We used to do a play back. I was explaining this the other day, that many years ago we used to do theater every Sunday for the Sunday feast. And we had the one putting the deposit in the wrong bank account. It's a classic play. It's a classic example. We're putting our investment in the wrong place, because asatyeta refers to that which is not a fact, or in other words, Maya. Maya means that which has no existence, but is a temporary illusion only. Temporary illusion only. All these relationships, temporary. But we think that we can somehow or another keep them permanent. I've given this example many times. Every year when we would come back on the summer trip, over Nevada into Utah. We come from San Francisco, we come over the top of Nevada, on the east side of Nevada into Utah. It's over the mountain. And then you come into the salt flats of Utah. And we would camp out right there, right when you enter Utah at the bottom of the hill. And it's just miles and miles and miles of flat. It's just totally flat. And it's salt. And it's like thick salt. You can't walk on it barefoot. You'll cut your feet. But practically speaking, it's very, very razor sharp. I remember one time the boy said, we're going to walk to that mountain over there. I said, you guys don't know. That mountain's like 75, 80, 90 miles away. He said, no, it's just right there. And then I asked the rest area attendant, how far is that mountain? He said, 76 miles. I said, you guys, the illusion of the closeness of it. The illusion of the closeness of it. The boys thought they were going to walk 76 miles to the mountain. And so in the same way, and then what happens is as the sun rises, the whole place looks like a lake. It does not look like salt, like salt dirt, earth, salt. It doesn't look like salt crystals anymore. It looks smooth as a mirror. And even the mountains are reflected on them. You see the mountains, that the mountains are coming out of the sky. And they're reflecting on that salt. And it's temporary. It's an illusion. It's not factual. Just like this body. We accept this. A person who have no contact with Nityananda accept the illusory body as factual. It's here, just like, because when Prabhupada explains this, he says that when you have counterfeit money, that means there's real money. If you see water, there's real water. Now we're seeing a mirage. Sometimes the devotees used to call me Mirage. Right? One of my nicknames, I'm a Mirage. And so the idea is that, these things, because there's an actual substance, we have a reflection of that substance. So this is described in the 15th chapter of Purushottam Yoga, of the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where it describes that there's a banyan tree which has its roots going up and its branches going down. Because the original tree is in the spiritual world, but the illusory tree is in the material world. And it's just a reflection of the original one. It's a reflection of the original one. So Narottam Das Thakur then says, Netayer Karuna Habe Bhaje Radha Krishna Bhabe. If you actually want to approach the association of Radha and Krishna, you must achieve the mercy of Nityananda first. Again, reminding you that Nityananda Adi Guru, that we need the mercy of the Guru, we need the mercy of the spiritual master. When he is merciful towards you, then you'll be able to approach Radha Krishna. Dara Nitte Charan Dukanai. Narottam Das Thakur advises that one firmly catch the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. Then again, he says, Anitya Chanan Satya. One should not misunderstand and think that he has caught hold of Maya. Similarly, the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda may also be something like that Maya or illusion. Therefore, Narottam Das Thakur confirms Nitya Chanan Satya, the feet of lotus Nityananda are not illusion, they are a fact. Tahada Sevaka Nitya, and one who engages in the loving service of Nityananda is also transcendental. This is an example that Srila Prabhupada would give, that you show me who your associates are, I'll show you who you are. And so in the same way, if we're associating with Nityananda, then we're also on the same transcendental platform. Srila Prabhupada says here that if one engaged in transcendental loving service in Nityananda and Krishna consciousness, he immediately achieves his transcendental position on the spiritual platform, which is eternal and blissful. Immediately. Oh, if we could only have the desire and the fortitude and the determination to really take shelter at the lotus feet of Guru and Gauranga, Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya. And therefore he advises, Nitai Pada Sada Koda Asta, always try to catch the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. Narottam Bodha Duke, Narottam Das Thakur, the Acharya, is taking the position that he is very unhappy, dukkha. We have dukkha and sukha, right? Actually, he representing ourselves. He says, my dear Lord, I'm very unhappy. But Nitai Moda Koda Suke. Therefore, I'm praying to Lord Nityananda to make me happy. Rakao, Ranga Charane Pase. Please keep me in the corner of your lotus feet. So this prayer is very poignant for Lord Nityananda's appearance day coming up on Wednesday. Here in Dallas, we have a very, very special occasion because the day before is Varaha. What is it? Varaha, right? And we have to fast on the Ekadasi for Varaha, and we have to fast for Nityananda because we have to. It's like a very special. It's really unusual that we fast for Lord Nityananda on the Ekadasi because we have to break. It's really interesting how important it is to break the Ekadasi, that it's more important than having a fasting for Lord Nityananda on that day. I've never really been able to figure this out, although it's been explained to me once or twice, but it's very technical. It's a very technical thing. So now we have a few moments left. We went through the whole song. If there's any question or any comment or reflections, I knew it was going to take a little bit of time, and usually as I go through, I ask for reflections as we go through the songs and as we go through the purports. But I knew it was going to be a little long today, and that we would maybe have only a few minutes at the end because it's a very, very important and very, very strong and powerful, very powerful and important song.
So, dear devotees, please unmute yourself to ask question of Maharaj.
Raise your hand and then you can unmute yourself if you have a question. I guess everybody agrees that Lord Nityananda's lotus feet are the most important thing to take shelter of. Oh, Kunti, you have your hand up. I didn't know you could do that. How do you do that?
I'm still learning this thing.
Yeah.
So getting the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda means to try to give that mercy to other people, right? I mean, that's really the order of the Guru, to try to give Krishna consciousness to others through book distribution, prasadam distribution, that type of thing. Is that how to get the mercy?
Yes. We get the mercy by distributing. Lord Nityananda was one of the original Sankirtan devotees, him and Haridas Thakur. I've often wondered how Haridas Thakur had time for going out on book distribution and Harinam distribution, because he was chanting 300,000 names. He actually made about, 10 billion? No, 10 million names, 10 million names, or 10 million names per month. 10 million, 10 million names per month he would chant. And so, but yes, Kunti, because one of the things that happens when one goes out to distribute Krishna consciousness is that the knowledge that we receive through study and the inspiration that we get through hearing the holy name goes from Gyan to Vigyan as we distribute. Gyan means knowledge, and Vigyan means it becomes realized knowledge. It goes deeper into the heart. Because when we see someone come in contact with, and actually there's a request, I think it's from the BBT, because they're curious as to devotees who know or have stories or experiences of people taking up the chanting of Hare Krishna, and the examples are the outcome of that. I have to re-look at the request that I received. But there is that when one goes out and distributes Krishna consciousness, and it has to be done according to time, place, and circumstance, and it has to be done in a proper state of mind. And that proper state of mind is Trinadapi Sunichana Tarodapi Suhishnana. Not going out thinking that we are better than everybody else, but going out thinking that we're the servant of everyone else. And we're the servant of the servant of the servant. And as far as back as we can go, or as far we can extend ourselves, then we can do that. There was a letter that Srila Prabhupada wrote to Satsrup Maharaj. He said, if you're not tolerant, you cannot preach. And so this tolerating, there's a nice verse that describes this, that yam yam vapi smaram bhavam chagyajanta kalebram, and that purport to that verse that describes that whatever state of being one's in at the end of their life, to that state they'll attain without fail. In that purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that one must chant Hare Krishna constantly. He goes Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Rama, Hare
And
Hare.
he says constantly, incessantly, one should chant, and tolerating everything and continue to chant. And he says, I think in 3 verses, he chants the Maha Mantra like 4 or 5 times, at least 3 or 4 times. He chants the Maha Mantra. So we must take shelter of that Maha Mantra. Take shelter of that. And as we distribute Krishna consciousness, very, very purifying. Very purifying. But it must be done properly. And I see Gauri Kumari has their hand up. So yes.
Thank you, Mara.
Hare Krishna Prabhu
Maharaj.
Ji. I mean Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, sir. I could.
And my question is that you said that by pleasing Nityananda Mahaprabhu, we can please Radha and Krishna. So how do we please Nityananda?
Yeah, I think our friend Kunti Devi just said it, by distributing Krishna consciousness to everyone, taking shelter of Guru, because as I mentioned, Nityananda is the Adi Guru. Adi Guru means the original Guru, and when we take shelter of the spiritual master, we take shelter. It's like taking shelter of Lord Nityananda, and the purpose of that shelter is to get relief from the suffering of this material world. And as one gets that relief, it's just like right now, we can't go outside and do different things like we used to. We have to stay in as much as we can because there's COVID out there. And so now I forgot the analogy. and so the idea is that if I know I remember the analogy. So if all of a sudden we came up with a cure and a real vaccine that worked, not that the ones that are out there aren't work, but a real protective medicine that would protect us from COVID, and we just kept it to ourselves, would that be nice? Just say so many thousands of people got sick, so many millions of people got sick, but I have a little cure over here in my room, but I don't want to give it to anybody. Would that be very nice? What do you think, Gaura Kumari Das? Oh, you're not Gaura Kumari. I know who you are. Would that be nice if I had the cure for COVID, but I didn't share it?
No, that would not be nice.
Yeah. So in the same way, if we have the way to free ourselves from the pain, from the sufferings of the material world, from the clouded existence, from the illusory existence that we are presently existing in, then it's incumbent. It becomes our duty to whomever we meet, whoever we come in contact with, try to somehow or another share the medicine, because in that verse I spoke on a few weeks ago, Aushadhi Amaya, that Lord Chaitanya has come with the medicine. And at the end of the song, Bhaktivinoda Thakur begs for the holy name. He begs to have the association of the holy name. And so that's what we got to do. We got to stand up and be accounted for as part of Lord Nityananda and Prabhupada's army. And it's not that difficult. The mind may make it difficult for us, but technically it's not so difficult. But now we're at 7 o'clock, Nityananda Prabhu. Gopi Gita, you were so still sitting there listening that I thought it was your picture, and then all of a sudden the hand moved, and I said, "Whoa!" That was because it's got this blue glow around it, and I thought, "Oh, that must be a picture." Then all of a sudden the picture started moving.
Your mercy, Maharaj. Even what should I say? Even the stone can come to life. I think cheesy.
Okay, Nityananda Prabhu, please take over. I don't know what happens next because the time is up.
You're on mute, Nityananda Prabhu.
I'm just asking if anybody else has a question. I was saying that
more question. Okay.
Stone does come to life when you have someone like Richard Roger Maharaj speak. So that's very nice, Maharaj. Anybody else would like to ask a question? All right.
We don't force. We just invite.
Yes. So this program will be going on every week on Sunday, just so you know, between 6 and 7 this time. Please, join in. There'll be different speakers at different times. And, you can come in. And if you'd like to speak, just let me know also.
Okay. I'm getting a call. So may I take the call, Nityananda?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so very much.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Jai. Wonderful.
Prabhuji, I was wondering next week. Haribol.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Prabhuji, I was wondering next week onwards, maybe if we could maybe get darshan of the deities also on this one.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah, I can try to do that. I'll speak to Balaram Prasad Prabhu. He knows between him and, Srikant Krishna, somebody can figure that out.
Right.
Okay, wonderful. That's a very good idea.
Is it on right now? No, it's not on, right?
Yes, it's on. Well,
Oh,
yeah, it's on. It's on. So,
let me see. Okay.
Who is that? Is it our
oh, Krishna Patija.
એટલે Bombay થી?
Huh.
Really? Wow.
He's in our Kalachandji family. No?
You know which Krishna Bhatija you're talking about?
I know. It's Vedant cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I know him quite well. He's very Krishna conscious person.
Yeah, very. He's very focused.
Okay, Dr. Prabhu, you might just send me the link for Lord Nityananda. And,
Yeah, I will.
Thank you so very much. Everybody, thank you also
That's
very much.
Sydney, right? Sydney's son, right? Or is that Sydney?
Sydney.
So one more, Prabhuji, one more. I'm just going to do this. I will, and I'll see if you can tell me if you can see.
Okay. Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, good. Then we can do this next time.
Yeah, you can do it. From time to time, show the Lord.
Yeah. You can see the deities now, right?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Okay.
So Sydney, everything okay with you? Sydney? She's muted.
Yeah, she's muted.
How do you Sydney thing? Unmute her.
No, they have to unmute.
Anyway, she's not near the computer, that's why.
Uh,
Okay, thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.